I feel my BF is taking advantage of my kindness, so I confronted him. My boyfriend and I have been dating since summer 2021, and since then, he has stayed at my apartment every day and every night. He owns his own home less than a mile away, which he said he purchased for his 3 roommates who were looking for a place to live. He only charges them $300 or so a month, out of the goodness of his heart. I have only been there twice for house parties, which I essentially invited myself to when we were getting to know each other. I never have asked him for money. Not for rent, not for utilities, not for the groceries I always have to buy. He never goes shopping for any food or household supplies. 2 separate instances I asked if he could get toilet paper. Once he bought a chintzy 4PK at the gas station he was already stopping at, which I'm assuming is just to tide us over until I get a more realistic package. He has IBS and goes through a lot, and the second time he brought in a big garbage bag of almost empty rolls from his bathrooms at work, which they save. He doesn't cook and said in the past it's not important to him, or he doesn't think of it, yet will certainly eat the food I buy and make. For the most part one was more than happy to provide, but as time goes on I feel like I'm carrying the mental load of living together by myself. My apartment is in disarray and I can never get it under control with only me doing any work. I have mentioned parts of above to him over the last year, and sometimes it would result in him sheepishly doing 1 sink full of dishes and leaving the rest for me. Or when I tell him he has to figure out dinner for us for 1 night out of the 7 because I'm working late, that means he's door-dashing us something at 8 p.m. It's things like that make me start to resent him and kill my attraction. It hurts my feelings. For such a nice guy, how can he be so thoughtless? It feels thoughtless to me anyway. I told him tonight I feel it would be best if we return to our old living situation, him at his home, and me alone here. I expressed I can't, or won't, handle all the responsibility of our lives co-inhabiting. I also said it really hurt my feelings that for Christmas he got me Drano, which he waited to give to me on Christmas. Meanwhile the sink has been backing up for a month, and a set of ladles. He didn't say anything. He just sat there and stared at me. I asked if he had anything to say. Any feelings about it? He said he didn't know what to say. I felt insulted. There are far too many women in the same situation, I'm finding as I read Reddit. Are all men truly just one-track minded? They only think of themselves? Why don't men just take the initiative to help their partners without having to be given lists, or told what to do, or nagged about it? Update. So since this, he was still in my living room for a few hours, I've been in bed COVID, and laying there I got miffed. I walked back in and asked twice more, you have nothing to say? No words. No, I'm so sorry you feel that way, what can I do? Nothing. No emotion. I can't believe it. This was supposed to be my best friend. I told him we're breaking up and he needs to go home now. I'm honestly really surprised and hurt by his lack of reaction. I should have known. I packed his things and he picked up this morning. I asked him again if he has any feelings about this and he was silent. I'm sorry, but I started to cry because it's just so hurtful. He said he was blindsided, then silent. I said, that's all I get after 2.5 years, in tears, and he just said, bye Lauren, like he always would. I needed him to hear me. Or understand where I was coming from, but I guess he doesn't. Or doesn't care to. He's alright with just walking away with his things, with no conversation or words from the heart. That is the most painful thing out of all of this. His talks of getting a house, getting married, why bother if you're just going to throw it in the towel when me supporting us gets overwhelming? For those of you who asked why I kept this going for so long, we met when my father died and grew close. I wanted to have him in my life, it was positive and a breath of fresh air from my former partners. He was a kind, sensitive, thoughtful, caring guy when I met him. He even on his own volition promised me he wouldn't be a low-tier dude like the others. I don't know if he's on the spectrum, many of you asked. He's joked about it in the past. He's not a bad guy. I guess he really just doesn't care, and I've got to accept that and try to learn from where I went wrong in the beginning. Final update. You know what, I painted him in a bad light. Sure, these things happened, but ultimately he's a good guy. Maybe we're just not a good fit. Perhaps I went about things in the wrong way by escalating it so quickly. Perhaps I'm too quick to blame and not good at communicating in our relationship. Either way, I got the space I so desperately wanted. I appreciate all of your input today. The response was astounding. I guess the takeaway to my failed relationship is to be sure to check in with your partners, where they're at, if their needs are being met, if there's anything you can do, if you're both still on the same page.